All right, so let's do some test review. Me and Yuri here. Just going to show you some of the questions. Okay, get a little preview on some of the questions. Going to hide some of them and just give you some of the diagrams and things. But you can see there's diagrams like time zones. So remember, 1 hour I wait, 15 degrees, the Earth will rotate. So each time zone has longitude running through it, and they're 15 degrees apart. So whatever number this would be, this is 15 degrees, 15 degrees, 15 degrees. 1 hour I wait, 15 degrees, the Earth will rotate. So rotations versus revolutions are going to be important, knowing the rate of rotation, rate of revolution. Revolution is the sun and the Earth. Okay, it takes 365 days to go around the sun. So that is one revolution per year, 1 degree per day, something like that as far as revolution. Rotation is one rotation per day. You got to think about the different units. And you can see right over here, you definitely have some of those out there. So make sure you go over that, ask questions on that. This is a change in one night. So if constellations are changing in one night, you're talking about the Earth spinning. That spin is a rotation. That's a daily change. If you were talking from January to August, any kind of long-term change, you're talking about a revolution. So knowing the rates that those things happen and stuff, pretty important. Foucault pendulum. This is turning to the right, so this must be a northern hemisphere. This shows that the Earth is spinning, the Earth's rotating. So you got a few Foucault pendulums on here, associating that with 1 hour I wait, 15 degrees, the Earth will rotate. Comes up quite a bit. Latitudes. Observer in New York State. Which city in New York State? What would the angle of Polaris be? So if we're looking right here, New York State cities, whatever your latitude is, that's your angle of Polaris. So Kingston would be 42. Watertown is at 44 degrees. That angle is your latitude. That's Polaris. Look at that one. We got another one of these right here. Looks familiar, straight out of the notes. Things like what causes the Coriolis effect, what causes Foucault's pendulum, all that stuff. Identifying what causes this to happen. This is the Earth spinning, making those concentric circles. Naming the star right in the center here. Hopefully we remember that Polaris is the North Star, right in the center there. Polaris never changes. Polaris never changes at all. It's steady. It's not the brightest. It's the steadiest. Yuri falling down there. Uranium, 1 half-life, 2 half-lives. So this is just like that extra credit thing where half of it keeps going away every time. The shaded areas. This is the parent, daughter. So if you want to know what uranium turns into, we would have our ESRT, uranium, turns into lead. This is not stuff to memorize. That's just a look-up kind of thing. The crust questions. You guys struggled on that on the quiz. There's a few of those on here. Okay. Type of crust, continental versus oceanic. Okay, we're going to learn more about this, and this becomes easier. But this is a continent. This is ocean crust. Thick, made of granite, felsic. Thin, made of basalt. This is less dense. This is more dense. Continents are less dense. The moon. So we're talking about different things that could happen here. Eclipses, solar eclipse, lunar eclipse. This is nighttime, so this would be midnight. This would be noon over here. The Earth spins. So we've got sunset, sunrise. Highest high tides are going to be when these two line up. So you would have like spring tides when everything lines up. And when they're fighting each other, the moon and the sun, you would have not quite highest high tides. Knowing your phases of the moon that you would see when you're looking at each of these things, make sure that you would be able to draw what would it look like at D, what would it look like at A, what would it look like at C, what would it look like at B. Time of day, knowing the times of day for different locations. Obviously X is here. Just remember, we drew this like a pizza. Anywhere on a line right here, like this would be noon. Here, it's also noon anywhere that lines up with it. More moon questions, phases of the moon. What would you see? This is a type of eclipse. Since you're on Earth and you're looking towards the sun, the moon is blocking out the sun. So that would be a solar eclipse. Phases of the moon. How long does the moon take? New moon to new moon is 29.5, but the moon's rate of revolution is 27.3. Well, that's the period of revolution. The rate isn't asked. So the moon's closer. That's why it causes more tides than the sun. There's a data table to analyze there. A couple of diagrams here. The Earth was liquid, so the heaviest stuff, because it's the most dense, sunk towards the center. So what elements are in the center of the Earth? They're very similar to meteorites, which you don't have to memorize it, although you all did a very good job of that. You could look it up right here. The center of the Earth is made of iron and nickel, right in your ESRT. Knowing how old the Earth is, it's roughly 4.6 billion, which is 4,600 million, which is 4,600,000. That's 000. That's how old the Earth is, or 4.6 times 10 to the 9th years. Different ways of seeing it. One of those is under my hand for how old the Earth is. I think that's pretty much it. There's not a ton of radioactive decay questions on here. That's a harder concept. Just making sure I didn't miss anything here for you. Oh, I did miss a couple of these radioactive decay questions over here. So seeing this diagram here, if you started out with all undecayed, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 radioactive. So undecayed means radioactive. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 32. So if there was 16, that would be 1 half-life. This has 8. So that means we went from 32 to 16 to 8. So that's 1 half-life and a second half-life. 2 half-lives later, depending on what the element is, you would want to know how old it is. Very similar looking diagram. You've seen this exact question in your quiz. Go over the old quiz stuff, please. And I think that kind of is a quick summary of what's on the test. You can ask questions. You've seen a lot of those questions. So ask me more questions if you need to go over that stuff.